In the upper left in the red, he is Fantasy. Woo!
Yeah!
Yeah! Yeah, much better with the Gome voice coming on here. And in the bottom right, in the blue, our Zerg player, he is Hyun.
All right. I just want to type right now into the game, hey, do you want to go to Blizzcon and see if either answer? Man, these guys have worked so hard this year to accumulate this many points. It's like, it's so brutal trying to qualify for BlizzCon. And to be this close right now, literally this is the game that decides it. This best of one tells us who gets to go win a bunch of money.
In truth, Artosis, to be fair, it is in fact a best of 5, but yes, this final
this is
game
a best of one, my friend.
Now, we've seen in some games Zergs do crazy stuff like take the gold base. I don't think we're going to see that at all here against Terran with Fantasy, but
yeah.
It's made it. The gold bases have had an interesting role later on. It's a little bit tougher for Zerg to secure it.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see any golds in this game.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's. I do like the way that the maps have golds nowadays, where it's not like an auto call one way or the other. It's like, oh, this could be an interesting thing late game. But we do see both of these players going for an expansion first. You know, Hyun did a lot of scouting to make sure he wasn't being proxy racks before choosing this. And look at that, he's not even being greedy, going right into a pool and gas. Whereas Fantasy is just kind of crossing his fingers saying, well, there's no early pool here, I'm fine.
And by the way, even getting the gas there before the barracks.
Yeah. Definitely going to want to be teching up into a factory very quickly here. Interested to see, of course, if we will see a mech game here out of Fantasy or not, but either way, it should be fun to see what he comes up with.
Let's not forget that the early game throughout this series has really been the strong point for Fantasy. The late game for Hyun, that's where he really shines.
Yeah, very much so. That is what we've seen. So, let's wait and see, Tasteless.
Let's do it, Artie McTosis. The McMosis.
I'm the McMostest.
No, McMosis. The mostest McMosis.
That's it.
Is anything else rhyme with Artosis?
No, nothing at all.
His back's got scoliosis.
Osmosis.
Osmosis.
Ketosis.
Yeah, ketosis.
But then you're just
when he sees Mac, his body enters ketosis.
Alright, we do have the factory on the way. Quick speed here from Hyun.
Yep.
Not screwing around this game.
No.
Once you get that Zergling speed out, you're
no risks
never
here.
completely safe without Zergling speed.
Yeah. That's a general rule you should follow. Nobody's going to make you take it. And there are games you can win where you skip it, but if you want to be really safe and not get beaten up early, you want that link speed.
Pretty much the most important upgrade in the entire game.
And the reactor is about to finish here. So the structure of this map is very interesting. It makes this sort of swirly shape here in the middle. You see the bushes the Lings are in right now. That's oftentimes used by Zerg to ambush Terrans as they push out, since they can't see into the bushes until they arrive there. We'll see if that's the case this time around, but with Speedlings in the game, it's definitely something you want to factor in.
By the way, I really like this build that Hyun is using. It's kind of like an older build where you get quick Zergling speed as well as quick Overlord speed, and this is going to give him so much intel. This is a very, very safe way to play. He's going to know what Fantasy's doing basically for the rest of the game.
And I like this. I mean, if you've been following a lot of StarCraft 2, this build might seem like a bit of an anachronism, but actually it's still viable. It's just not common in meta. Damn, he got that.
That was really good.
Nicely done.
Well, right now we do have Fantasy kind of poking in. He doesn't know what Hyun's up to, but Hyun is about to know what Fantasy's up to, which is, as we see, Medevac, Hellions, and yeah, I guess we're going to see Hellion drop coming up.
Yeah, and with the Baneling's nest here for Hyun. Uh-oh. Can these Lings block out? Now having Speedlings here is what's so handy. Oh, and he's going to go for the wall off and backing away, and a second shot not coming out there for Fantasy.
Really solid defense there by Hyun, and Hyun getting his scout on, so really figuring out everything that's going on. We do have a Viking on the way to push out Overlords, but with the speed, the Viking is not nearly as good.
6 more links coming up here. The Baneling's Nest about to complete. And we see an armory, by the way. Not on screen, but that does indicate that he's probably going to be going for some form of mech here.
Yeah, you're quite right about that. It does look that way. And look at this. This is heartbreaking to Fantasy right now.
Yeah.
This is heartbreaking because, like, you put a lot into an early build order. Look, his 3rd command center started now. If he knew that this was going to be scouted and stopped that hard, he would have gone his 3rd command center first. But instead, he went for the quicker tech. He put a lot of money, a lot of time into getting this medevac out and getting these Hellions out, and he has done nothing with them. Nothing at all.
Yeah, that medevac bounced out of the main like it was made out of rubber. And now we have a continuing medevacs moving around here. By the way, the Overlord did see the armory, so he can confirm that it's going to be mech.
Now,
but here comes the Hellbat push.
Now this part is very, very nice. He might actually get something because the Banelings aren't actually morphed yet, so he has to run these drones all the way away. I mean, you can actually kill a hatchery with Hellbats, not with Hellions, but definitely with Hellbats. Ooh, a little bit sloppy there on that Queen. Trying to actually protect these drones, and 8 drones go down right there. A lot of Banelings coming up.
Huge connection there. By the way, the Banelings being dispersed, not properly. Great splitting there by Fantasy. Managing to keep this attack going long after the Banelings have been eliminated.
11 drones end up going down. So Fantasy definitely made something out of this. This is a little bit sad for Hyun because he put all this money and time into scouting.
Look at this chase scene, by the way.
But he put all this time and money into scouting. If he had all those Banelings when that attack began, he doesn't lose 11 drones there.
That's right.
The defense is so much easier. He takes so much less damage. But here we are, and you know, good on Fantasy. He was able to do quite a bit of damage there, really. But now he is going into mech for the first time. We do have Hyun going into Roaches, getting that speed, getting those upgrades.
That's right.
And I'm interested to see how he wants to play against. Of course, we just got to see Biel and his beautiful, fantastic way of playing against mech.
Kind of cool to see Fantasy sticking with the Viking play to bully Overlords around the map. We don't see that as much anymore. That was especially popular within the first 2 years of StarCraft 2, but not always used. Yeah. But Fantasy, he kind of sticks to his guns. He had several builds that were quite similar, actually, in Brood War, where he'd use a Wraith to get the Overlords. And, you know, especially you've got a lot of these Zerg players that don't play against that style a lot of times. The mapping of where they're gonna place all their Overlords gets really screwed up.
Yeah, I like it. I like what it's all about. He's running around with these Hellions right now, seeing what he can find. Right now, we do have Fantasy as well, grabbing a 2nd armory. Just making a ton of factories here. Already has that 3rd base mining, so Fantasy's army is going to be really scary, really, really fast. And Hyun here doesn't have a Spire, so we already have like quite a number of siege tanks at this moment. 4 siege tanks out already, making multiples at a time right now. I'm a little bit scared for Hyun here. I'm not sure how he's actually going to hold on when this push decides to move out.
These drones need to move like yesterday. All right, he's not going to, looking for him, he's not going to go try to focus fire those drones. The Hellions now looping around and going over to the 3rd base. Not any defense here, and a lot of workers are going to be picked off. This is 13 so far.
Man, and let's not forget he lost a lot early on too.
Oh, he's not even finished.
We're at 28 workers killed this game. This is just out of control.
And the number will continue to rise, Artosis, as the Hellbat drop happens here. And remember, we were saying this early on, but the early game always is going to Fantasy here. Hyun is someone who struggles to get to the late game, but you know, the fact that Fantasy's early game is going well and he's been going for mech, which means he's going to be probably in a better position in the late game. I'm a little bit worried right now for Hyun.
Without a Spire, I see no chance of Hyun holding the first push. Like what he needs, what Hyun needs to win this game is Fantasy needs to clump his siege tanks like crazy when he moves out, because Hyun right now is just running up to Vipers as quickly as he can.
Yeah, let's go over the golden rules for what makes mech strong and what makes mech lose sometimes. So mech is the strongest unit composition in the game. It outputs the most damage, and it also starts that oftentimes at a range where they get to fire first. So if you combo that together, right, they're going to lose a huge chunk of their army before your army even hits them. Now, the disadvantage about mech is it takes a pretty long time to max out on, and that might sound funny because the supply is ahead here for Fantasy, but we did have 30 drones killed for Hyun. How you lose with mech is oftentimes going to come down to, especially in this matchup, if Terran loses all the tanks. Since they spend, for instance, this game, it's been about 15 minutes. Most of this game has been spent with Terran just trying to get tanks because they deal so much damage. If the tanks get out of position and picked off, then Terran's probably going to lose, or at least the reset button's been hit, and Zerg has freedom on the map.
Yeah.
Now, will he lose his tanks in this case? I don't think so, man.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of support with this.
The thing is, against mech, like, you need to have a Spire earlier on so that you can force some Thors out and more Vikings out so they have less siege tanks. But the army that Fantasy has right now is, okay, he has 17 Hellbats and 15 siege tanks. Like, if Hyun was maxed on Roach Hydra, still Fantasy can kill it. Like, for sure.
Yeah, that's
he
true.
can still kill it if spaced correctly.
Now, one thing Zerg might need to rely on in this moment, due to the threat of the mech army, kind of, you can't win that in a straight-up fight, is Hyun is probably going to rely on counterattacks.
Yeah, that might be the way that he wants to go about this. Like, he can't really engage the army very easily. Like, he just need, again, fantastic blinding clouds, which is, it's more on Fantasy placing his tanks too close. Like, if they're all clumped up in a few blinding clouds, like 2 to 3 blinding clouds can make them all not fire, then yeah, Hyun can absolutely take that battle. But you know, that's not too likely. Like, in fact, he has so many that even if he tried to clump them like that, it would take a lot of blinding clouds still.
Well, we see the one lone medevac come in here, just trying to keep Zerg a little bit busy. We'll see how much damage he actually does. You know, with the Hydras, obviously they're going to go down and try to hit the medevac first. By the way, in this little window of downtime, I know we do have a lot of new viewers here. It's you know, a different day for StarCraft that we don't normally cast, so feel free to add us on Twitter. Call me Tasus.
I am Artosis.
That's right. I am a professional esports commentator out here in Artosis. He has a full-time job making birdhouses that he occasionally casts StarCraft as well. So thanks so much for taking time from your craft to...
yeah, no, I mean, listen.
He's the #3 birdhouse builder in Korea. So.
It's... I'm flattered that you say that. I only rank myself within the top 10 just barely.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, you're a modest guy, so...
But yeah, I mean, it's a hard life. There's a lot of pigeons out here that need birdhouses.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're
normally
the unsung hero of the pigeons out here.
I am.
Yeah.
All right, well, right now we do see just kind of on the edge here, Hyun kind of zoning him in. I do like what we're seeing from Hyun. He's going right into a greater Spire. So it looks like he wants to go into, you know, just a Broodlord Hydra for the most part, which is, it's like kind of a cool idea that we see here. There's not really, like, we see the starports being added now. There's 12 Vikings, yeah. But with some Vipers and a bunch of Hydras, like, you might be able to micro this correctly. That gets Fantasy out of position. You can get something done. So it's, it's cool what we're watching. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it work, though.
Well, Hyun, not much stamina there when trying to hold that off. Gold bases get a little bit weird on this map because you can attack them from behind here because of the odd position they have in the middle of the map. So, I don't know. Let's see what Hyun has in store for us. He is going for Corruptors, which tells us that Broodlords are an inevitability in this game.
Yeah, 4 Tech Labs being added right now for Fantasy, definitely going towards Ravens and Battlecruisers. And it looks like he wants to go directly to Battlecruiser, in fact.
And that is the supreme Terran army.
Yeah.
You get all these tanks so that they can't attack into you, and if Terran identifies that maybe it's not safe to attack into the Zerg still, then you go to the next level of tech. You get a bunch of Battlecruisers, you get a bunch of Ravens with the Seeker missiles, and I mean, there's not a lot that Zerg can do but try to maneuver around what is an even slower air army than the ground mech army that we originally saw Fantasy start out with. Oh my god.
He just scanned, but I don't know that he actually saw... Did he see the Broodlords?
No,
sure that
not that scan, I don't
Yeah,
believe.
no, it was right on the edge. The most edgewardly Broodlord was right on the edge.
We might have missed it. I was too busy staring into your doe eyes, but yeah, I believe he did not. So let's see how this attack here goes.
All right, that's a lot of Vikings coming out. All right, he pulls a whole bunch in, and that's where his Hydras can actually just eat them. Now we do have the Roaches coming forward now as well. and he actually just killed off a hell of a lot of Vikings right there.
Crazy pull-in. Scorpion from Mortal Kombat is jelly right now. However, Fantasy does follow this up with the counter push. Now we have 9 Ultras here.
Look, it was a cool try, but at the end of the day, the flank of siege tanks worked out pretty well. Now, we have a bunch of Ultras on the way to combat these siege tanks. You know, if he has some other units with them, you might be able to get something done. Can't do just those, but you know what? He's over here on creep. If he's on creep in the open, you get a flank with Ultras, you'll absolutely kill everything.
Pulling in more of these Vikings. He needs these Ultras to connect properly. And remember, it can't just be Ultras alone. It's much less effective. Also, Fantasy is split pushing here, and it looks like it's going to work out pretty nicely. He keeps scanning the high ground here to not give any edge to an approaching Hyun army.
All right, looks like he's throwing down quite a few blinding clouds. The Ultras do come out, and they will end up killing off all of these siege tanks. Fantasy trying to wage a big comeback here after... All right, Hyun trying to wage a huge comeback here.
Would you remind me what is one of the ways a mech player can lose an entire game?
Well, I would say if they take all their siege tanks and lose them because they're out of position.
That's right, and we just saw that. Now it's 131 supply to 166.
Woo!
Woo, indeed.
Yeah, so about that, what we just saw, like, with mech, like, you know, like Warren Buffett says that, like, the best investment, the correct investment is for life. The best time to attack with mech is never. Like, you on a map, a smaller map, just cut it in half and take more bases. Don't ever actually commit. But especially, you shouldn't be attacking unless you're maxed. Like, if they kill off like 30 supply, you know what? Walk your siege tanks home, get 30 more supply, and walk back out, because then they'll never die.
It's kind of weird because this was during the window when Terran could have properly transitioned into the Raven battlecruiser, and we didn't have that. So, I don't know, man.
Well,
I'm not sure what the rationale was for Fantasy.
Both these guys definitely have like a decent bank, a bigger bank for Terran, which you never want to see as Zerg. Normally Zerg is going to have a way bigger bank if the game is even. But they both have a lot of bases right now. Hyun has some really nice creep spread. He has some good map mobility at this point.